Hello, have you ever thought about having a vintage farm with old equipment? Old equipment. That's what I have here. If you have, this is going to be really cool. So I have a vintage farm here with equipment. Say the year is 1975 and everything is older than that. In fact, some of it is much older. Okay, this first one looks like it's one of the oldest ones, but it is not actually. It's from 1957. It's the Porsche Diesel Junior, and it has only 14 horsepower. And we're going to see what they sound like in just a second. So 14 horsepower, you can't do a whole lot on the farm, but it will pull a water or milk tank. This is 2,000 liters, but I've pulled up to 8,000 liter tank with this little guy, and it goes about 15 miles an hour. It will struggle up a hill with that much. Okay, even older than that, this is from 1948. It's the Zetor 25K, and it has 25 horsepower, which is actually enough to do some things on the farm. These are in ranking order of horsepower increases as we go. There's a planter on the back, and it needs only 20 horsepower to pull, and we'll look at that in action here maybe. But it's a really cool tractor. 25 horsepower is enough to get up and go. And I love the sound of this little guy. All right, from 1939, this is the International Harvester McCormick Farm All Super H. And this one has 30 horsepower. It comes standard with 25. You can get it upgraded to 30. When you're moving around too, the seat bounces around like they're real deal. And it has a seeder on the back that you need only 20 horsepower to pull and seed your little farm. Okay, from 1960, we have another Zetor. This is the 3011, and it has 35 horsepower. And it's shown with a cultivator that you need 31 horsepower to pull. And that does a pretty great job. We'll see that cultivating here shortly. Okay, from 1966, we have the Case International Harvester 423. And this particular one has 45 horsepower. And we need that because we did some baling with straw and grass, and this is our baler. It needs 45 horsepower to make it go. Okay, also from 1966 is the John Deere 710. This one has 50 horsepower, and it's just pulling a trailer right now. Okay, next we have, it came out in 1966, ran to like 71, I think. It's the UTB Universal 650. And this one has 65 horsepower, which is pretty powerful for that time frame. And it's another great feature. It's able to hook up to a front end loader. So I have it hooked to the Quickie front end loader so I can move my bales around. And at 65 horsepower, it's a pretty strong tractor. Okay, then from 1966, we have the McCormick Farm All 1206 Turbo Diesel from International Harvester. And it is 95 horsepower, which is very powerful for that time frame. And it was noted for being powerful, but also bad on gas. And I just got it hooked to a trailer because it will pull up hills pretty good and go 20 miles an hour. All right, let's go see some of the stuff in action. And I'll show you some gear that goes with it and some harvesters too. All right, for doing grass, you can do it all with this trusty Farmall H. It has 30 horsepower. The standard tractor has 25, and when I got it, I upgraded it to 30, because you can do a lot of things with 30 horsepower. My little Lizard OptiCut 210 requires only 30 horsepower. 2.1 meter swath, goes 12 miles an hour. Okay, so I cut it with that little Farmall with 30 horsepower. This is my Lizard Z240 windrower. Goes 9 miles an hour, and it does a trick with 30 horsepower. But before I windrowed it, I used my tedder here, and it requires 28 horsepower. It's 2.7 meters wide and goes 9 miles an hour. And it does the trick with this little tractor. And of course, if you have more, you can get a bigger mower and stuff. They have the next one up for 45 horsepower, which is an option too, because if you're going to bale, I have a baler over here that requires 40 horsepower. Okay, this is the Lizard Z263. Okay, it's a round baler. It requires 45 horsepower and goes 6 miles an hour. And this tractor here, the International Case 423, has 45 horsepower. Look at that. So this is pretty good setup for baling. This is like a 1966 tractor. State of the art at the time. Look at that. And the baler does a nice job. Baler does a nice job. Now, if I got to move my bells around, right here I have the UTB Universal 650. It has 65 horsepower. It's circa 1969, I think. It comes with, you can get it with a front loader attachment for a quickie. And there you go. It does a great job moving your bales around. And then I have a bale trailer. And of course you can pull this with anything, but I use this bale trailer here to put my bales on there. So there you go. For 30 horsepower, you can get most of it done. And if you got this tractor with 45 horsepower, you can get it all done, including baling. And this one for 65 allows you to lift them up and everything. So that's pretty cool. So you can get in the hay business with some vintage tractors from the 60s. Okay, as far as planters go that you can pull with this little tractor, from the 60s era, you kind of don't have anything from the 60s. You got this little deal here that will certainly work. It's from 1930. It's old. And then the next one up is 1979, which is it. Still old. Still old. Really don't have anything. We need something in the middle, and you don't. So you can take your pick. If you want to be very, very authentically old, you'd use this one from 1930. It seeds. This one seeds and fertilizes. If you pull up to seeds or a loader like this, a dispenser, pull up slowly, and the first little thing is going to open. And you inch on up till they start to shut. And then the second one's open, and you can fill those up with seeds. And we're just going to plant corn. Oops, can't do corn right now. Sunflowers, I mean. There you go. Alright, so if you look at the map, we are planting. You can see that little stripe there. And it's certainly getting the job done. The other one does too, but you have to fertilize after it. Now I have to fertilize it. And I got a couple of options here. I have this fertilizer spreader that you can pull with, just a 30 horsepower tractor. Or I have a sprayer here. And what I'm going to do is use this to fertilize it. And I'm going to spray for weeds with that. Now I also have some weeders over here. Okay, this is the Lizard DF2M W120, and you need only 15 horsepower to pull it, and it weeds. Okay, this is the Einbach DF3M W300, and you need 35 horsepower to pull that, and it's a little wider. Still work with a lot of these little small tractors that I have, but sometimes with the row crops, a lot of times you're going to need a hoe. And with row crops you do. So what I'm going to do is spray herbicide on there with this apparatus. Okay, I'm going to show you this on the menu because I have the ROW 2700L, 2700 liter trail tank. Okay, and then I'm using the Fendt. My tractor is a little light for some of these to pull it, to carry it. It won't attach. So what I'm doing is I got this trail tank, and then the Fendt FarmCon 24 sprayer arm will attach right on the tank. And that's the apparatus that I have hooked together right there. And you don't need, this is not from the 60s, but they didn't, it's the oldest looking thing I could find. They don't really have a sprayer from the 60s. So that's what I got. Now you could, if you just want to do the weeders, there's some older ones over there, but like I say, with row crops, it's not going to work. So we're going to go ahead and get this guy over here fertilizing, and then we're going to spray herbicide on there. All right, if you're going to use AI to spray, I forgot to mention this, but what you can do is just take the sprayer arm and hook it right to your tractor. But this tank is really small. If you're setting it where the AI fills it up, It's not too bad. It only holds 200 liters. Or if you're going to spray it yourself, you can use the tank. This tank, the trail tank, doesn't work well with AI. He tends to get in a circle and spin around. So if you're going to use AI, you probably just want to use the sprayer arm and let it refill. Or you could spray it yourself. Now that lasts pretty good. I did a couple of fields and had plenty left. So that lasts pretty good bit. Okay, as far as harvesting goes, you got a couple of choices here. This one right here, the Clayson New Holland, was made in 1966. Has 100 horsepower. It harvests at 4 miles an hour, and it only holds a little bit like 1.9 thousand liters, so 1,900 liters of material. So it's pretty small. And it has this header that's 4.2 wide, okay, and it goes 4 miles an hour. So it's not the fastest, but it works, and it does okay. Okay, and then another choice from 1971, you got the Foresight E514, and it holds a lot more stuff, okay, and the header is bigger. Okay, this one's 5.7 meters wide, which is pretty good. And both of them have a very small corn header. So 5.7 meters wide, and it holds, I think, 2,800 liters. So it holds a good bit more, and it's going to be faster. We're going to start with this old one here. So let's hop in here and hook this puppy up. Look at this, how it looks. You gotta love the sound of this thing. It's kind of cool. And there you go. We are off and harvesting, and it does the job. Let me show you on the menu. Okay, that is this one right here. It costs only $16,000. So if you got a tight budget on a small farm, that's pretty cool. It travels around at 13 miles an hour. Like I said, it holds 1.9 cubic meters of stuff. And then there's your header there for 6,500. And the other one, there's two choices here. Not much difference. They have the same horsepower, same speed. The headers are the same. This one holds a little more material. That's the one I have. And we've upgraded that. Actually, that header is 4.2. I put this header on it. It's 5.7. This is from 1971, so not much out of the 60s. And there's your corn header there. And your header is $7,500. So for not a whole lot of money, you can get in the harvesting business with these older pieces of gear. And there you go. Okay, I just want you to hear this one operate because it's pretty cool too. It's a little bit more modern. It has a cab on it. The other one didn't have a cab. They're a little sluggish to get rolling because they're old. My granddaddy had some similar type things back in the day, years ago. It was pretty cool when I was little. There you go. We are harvesting with this bad boy. Okay, my corn is all harvested. It's all harvested. And now it's time to cultivate. So I've got this little guy right here. Not too little. It's the Lizard Harrows 5M because it's 5 meters wide. It goes 9 miles an hour, but I need 31 horsepower for that. My little Farmall is 30. So it might do it, but it's going to struggle a little. This little Zetor here has 35 horsepower. So I'm going to hook that up, let him go, and I'll show you another option. There he goes. He's off harvesting, or cultivating, I'm sorry. He's off cultivating. And I'll show you these on the menu here in just a second. This is my other option. Okay, it's the Unia KLZ3A, and you need only 20 horsepower to pull this puppy. Goes 9 miles an hour, 2.4 meters wide. So it's a little less than half the thing, but you only need 20 horsepower. So you could do it with this tractor, even one a little smaller. And it's got some cool action. Watch this when it hooks up. This is just cool. Isn't that neat? Same thing when you disconnect it. Rolling down the wheels. That's just cool. So those are your two options. So if you look at the menu, okay, the Lizard Harrow, the 5M is that one, and they do make one too that's 25 horsepower. You can pull it. Those are from 1949. This one's 3 meters wide. That one's 5 meters wide. They're only $550 and $800. They're pretty cheap. The Unia is this one, and it's $740. And there's no year, but it's around the same time period, 50s or 60s. And it's 2.4 meters wide, goes 9 miles an hour. And you need only 20 horsepower to pull that. So those are pretty good options for cultivating your field. She's already going there, doing a great job. Okay, our field is all harvested, as you can see there. Now it is time to seed, reseed canola. Okay, and what I'm doing is I'm using the Lizard S300, the Lizard S300, and it holds 850 liters of seeds. So we're going to back up to this puppy, and the action is not as quite as cool as the cultivator. And it's seeding, just like in the old days. What they used to do is just throw the seeds out there, kind of like you're fertilizing, and that's what it's doing. So if we look at the map, it is seeding canola. Look at that. Pretty cool, because you could pull that thing with very little horsepower. This tractor has 30, and it's doing a great job there, throwing out those seeds. So there you go. If you're trying to look for a vintage way to seed, that's it. Okay, I tried the corn header on my yellow harvester, the Clayton, New Holland Clayton, and it did not work. It did not work. And it didn't say it was supposed to fit, but I thought it would. So let's try it on this one and see if it's going to work. Okay, this one is working on my sunflowers. All right, let me just show you what each one of these little puppies sounds like. We're going to hop on the Porsche diesel right now. It's got a cool sound. Takes it a second to start up. Listen to that. Goes a whopping 12 miles an hour. It's got a pretty good bit of torque for a little bitty tractor. Like I said, I used it to haul around the 8,000 liter milk tank on another farm, and it worked okay. All right, next is the Zetor 25. Goes a little quicker, going like 14 miles an hour. Got a pretty good sound, looks cool. Does have lights. So we're getting more and more powerful as we go. Next, the Farmall McCormick H. Got a nice little idle. Reminds me of my Harley. This one gets up pretty good at 15. Wants to go 16. Must be 15 and a half. Got a nice sound. I like the exhaust coming out the front. Whoa. Next is the Zetor 3011. This one has 35 horsepower. Look at all the controls. These are nicely done. Once again, I like the stack there. You can do a lot with 35 horsepower. You saw from my demonstration there. Most of it I could do with like 30 horsepower. Except for the baling part. Now the McCormick International 423. This puppy's a bargain for its price with 45 horsepower. It's one of my favorites. It goes 19 miles an hour. Great for pulling a trailer. We're doing a lot of things. On a small farm you can pull a baler with it because the baler needs 45 horsepower and this has that. So you can do a lot with this tractor. Okay, for the next sound is the John Deere 710. This one has 50 horsepower. They have a barn find version too that's all rusted. I don't like the sound of this as much. It sounds kind of trashy. But it does the trick with 50 horsepower. Now this is a cool tractor, the UTB Universal 650. It's also in a Fiat version, has 65 horsepower, and they have a four-wheel drive with 90 horsepower. I like the sound of this. It sounds nice. Look at these controls there. I have the quickie front end loader on it. It's got a very nice sound. Sounds like a tractor. Unlike the little John Deere there, it just didn't quite sound right. This one goes 17 miles an hour. Very nice. And 65 is a pretty good bit of horsepower for these vintage tractors. And I like that because you can put the front end loader on it, which is needed. Alright, finally I got the Farmall Turbo 1206. And this thing has 95 horsepower. It's also one of my favorites because it's one of the more powerful ones. And it goes up to 19 miles an hour. So that's pretty good. There you go, that's our sound test. Kind of see what they sound like in the driving position. These are some great little tractors for a small farm. Alright, and that's it for vintage. If you want to try something a little different on farming similar to 25, you should try a vintage farm. It's a whole different angle. See if you can stick within those parameters of having everything like 50 years old or something. And see how far you can go with it. As your farm gets bigger, it gets harder and harder. But see what happens. I'm Farmer Teacher. Share this with your farming buddies. Hit me up in the comments if you have any questions. I'll see you on the next go-round. Bye-bye.